If you were to die tomorrow, what structures should you have in place to make sure that your children will be okay? And I don't just mean that your kids survive, but actually thrive and have the best possible future that you have set up for them. There are three important structures that your family needs, and together they will make sure that your kids get the best chance in life if they become orphans. Hi, my name is Paul de Klerk, and I'm the Director and Senior Advisor at Paul de Klerk and Associates. With over 12 years of experience helping thousands of Kiwis and migrants with this, I have a lot of expertise to help your family with your own child protection plan. So let's get into the details of how this plan will help your family. You need to establish three structures as part of the child protection plan. First, you need a professionally drafted New Zealand will for each parent. Now, there's a lot of reasons that people need a will, but for our purposes here, the major point is that we need to have legal guardians appointed who will raise your children for you. And then we need to appoint a perpetual executor who will make sure that the wishes stated in our will is carried out. For example, the executor will make sure that the money you've left behind to raise your children will actually reach the guardians and pay for the children's life, the food and schooling and clothes and things like this. And this then leads to the second structure. We need to make sure that cash is made available to the guardians so that they have the money to pay for these things. It costs a lot of money to raise children, and so it would be problematic to leave your children to a guardian and then not make any money available to pay for their upbringing. We are going to leave money behind in two ways. One, a cheap monthly payout life insurance policy, so not some big lump sum payout because this costs a lot more in premiums. And two, we need to repurpose your KiwiSaver savings to leave it behind for your children. Now, KiwiSaver can provide much more than just cash for retirement. It also helps to decrease your dependency on the life insurance policy. Because if you died, you can leave those savings to your children using your will. And as far as savings plans go, KiwiSaver is the fastest way to save as much as possible, as quickly as possible, because your employer and the government are also contributing to it. So, in summary, the Child Protection Plan puts together your will, your KiwiSaver strategy gets optimized, and your monthly payments life insurance policy is going to save you heaps of premiums. If you already have life insurance and KiwiSaver in place, not to worry, it's easy to bring it on board with me, and I'll look after you as your advisor. Now, why do you need a will? If you died without a will, then you have died intestate, and many people assume that the surviving family will automatically just get everything, but this is not always the case. Your assets will be distributed according to New Zealand law, and this might not work out the way that you wanted. The last thing we want is some judge in court deciding what happens to your estate. And as stated before, but just to reiterate, for our purposes here with your child protection plan, you need a will for two major reasons. Number one, to appoint legal guardians who will raise your children for you. And number two, to appoint executors to ensure that your money reaches your children and their guardians, and that the money is properly administered. That means the money must actually be spent on your kids, and not blown on overseas holidays or a new Mercedes or something like this. Now, I often get this question from migrants, so I'll address it now. Is my overseas will valid in New Zealand? Well, if your will has been drafted in a foreign jurisdiction, then no, it's not valid in New Zealand. You should have your overseas will that will administer your overseas assets, and then have a New Zealand will that will administer your assets and your life while living here in New Zealand. This will give you peace of mind. Now, there are some important things to consider about appointing guardians. Who will look after your children and raise them for you if you died? And for some migrants, this could be a tough question because they don't have the same support group in New Zealand yet, and so they might need to appoint interim guardians first. Now, if you are a migrant and don't yet have residency in New Zealand, then your children probably don't have residency either. And this means that if the parents died, they would likely need to return to their family in their home country. And I've seen this happen before. So to help with the situation, you do need to appoint interim guardians as well. Interim guardians will be the people who live in New Zealand and would look after your children temporarily while the full legal guardians travel to New Zealand to come and get your kids. Now, the last thing about guardians. Asking someone to raise your children is one thing, but when push comes to shove and someone is standing at the door with your children wanting to hand them over, you must know that those appointed guardians do have the right to pull out and say no. It happens all the time. There is usually one major reason why the guardians pull out of their promise, and that is money. So, have you made cash available to the guardians to help them raise your children? Now, raising children is not cheap in New Zealand, and remember, the guardians might have a couple of little ones of their own to raise as well, and suddenly the 3-bedroom house is too small, or the 5-seater Toyota Corolla is too small. They need help. Let's just quickly talk a bit about the executors. The executors are the people who carry out your wishes stated in your will. They will distribute your estate according to that will. The executor is responsible for disposing your body, proving the will to secure authority to administer your estate, paying your debts, and then distributing your estate to those stated in your will. Now, it's important to remember that the money you are leaving to the guardians to raise your children, this is not the guardian's money. This is your children's money. We are leaving it to them. But if they are too young to make responsible decisions, then the guardians will need access to this money to make sure that the kids get the upbringing you wanted for them. So, I suggest appointing a professional to be your executor, someone with the experience doing this professionally, one who will always be around in perpetuity, such as perpetual guardian. In perpetuity means that the executor won't die or quit or go into retirement, things like this, like a lawyer might do. Perpetual guardian has been around for literally decades, and we can be confident that they will be around for decades more. Now, as I mentioned before, but I'll reiterate, when push comes to shove and someone is knocking at the guardian's door with your kiddies because they are now orphans, the guardians you've appointed do have the right to change their mind and say no. And the guardians usually have one question before they take the children. Where is the money? So the money that you leave for the guardians can help pay for your children's schooling and clothing and food and education, all these sorts of things. So what is the cheapest and most efficient way to leave money for this? What we need here is readily available cash. And money that is tied up in assets like property can often take a while to get sold and the profits distributed. So it's ideal to leave assets that are more liquid than property. And there are really only two obvious strategies. My favorite strategy is to repurpose your KiwiSaver to do the job. KiwiSaver is cash. And this is something that you're probably already contributing to. And because your employer and the government are also throwing money into your account, it just makes sense that you have your KiwiSaver as your first strategy to leave cash for the kids. But the problem, though, is that it can take some time to build up enough KiwiSaver balance to do the job. But as time goes by, your KiwiSaver balance will grow. And since you won't be using that KiwiSaver for retirement, let's just make sure that we have that will in place and that the cash goes to the kids for their upbringing. So the KiwiSaver balance is still too low right now for us to rely on it 100% to do the job. We need to add some cash reserve with the second strategy, and that is monthly payout life insurance, not lump sum payout. So I'm not talking about some big lump sum payout if you died, because that's typically much more costly than using the monthly payout. Let's say you want to leave $1 million to your children in the will, which does make sense. I mean, New Zealand's an expensive place and it costs a lot to raise kids. So $1 million is not outrageous. But instead of having the $1 million payout in a big upfront check, it is much, much cheaper to have it pay out monthly instead, such as $3,000 or $4,000 paying out every month for 15 years or so. I'm going to show you in a minute how massive the premium saving is with this approach. So stay tuned. You're going to love this. But let's talk about the KiwiSaver first, because KiwiSaver is a much more complex product than life insurance. I mean, with life insurance, you die and money pays out. What else is there? But with KiwiSaver, my job is to help you navigate the world of investing, which is often volatile, to help you understand what fund to be in, what your risk tolerance is, what your risk capacity is, which provider to be with, and so much more. I want to be the one to hold your hand and to be your number one point of advice with everything KiwiSaver and investing. If you're already in KiwiSaver, chances are that you never got specialist advice first. And even worse is not even knowing that you need this advice so that your KiwiSaver has the best chance of performing like you hope it will. This is all going to change now because I'm here for you. You're not going to be alone in the dark anymore. Best of all, enrolling your KiwiSaver with me means you're going to get that all-important will done for free. Now, KiwiSaver is a financial asset, just like property, just like life insurance. If you don't use your KiwiSaver for your first home deposit or for retirement because you died, then leaving that cash for your children just makes sense. And remember, as time goes by, your KiwiSaver balance is going to be going up, so your need for the life insurance, it will come down. And consider that KiwiSaver is not structured to have multiple co-owners, like you can do with a property or a banking account or life insurance. So if you died, what happens to your KiwiSaver money if you died without that will? It means that the money will go into your estate, and it can take many, many months for your estate to be settled and the money's made available. So make sure that you have that will in place. Okay, let's talk about how to save money on life insurance premiums. What's the squeeze there? KiwiSaver on its own won't provide enough money for your children's guardians, at least maybe not in the first few years of being in KiwiSaver. So we need to look at a clever life insurance trick to fill the shortfall. Now, life insurance that pays out monthly to raise your children, this is the cheapest way to structure premiums. And I'm going to very quickly demonstrate how. This is an actual example for a couple I helped recently. These premiums are real premiums. The situation is that they are both aged 35 years old, they are non-smokers, household income of around $120,000, and they have 2 little dependent children, both under 5 years old to look after. Now remember, you can take out life insurance for whatever value payout you want. But to get the wills for free, the minimum premium we need to take out is only $20 per week to make this commercially viable for me to pay for the wills. So it's not that much. But for this couple, $20 per week of premium meant that they could take out $850,000 of life insurance for each of them. That is not $20 per person in premium, that's the total for the whole policy. AIA came in a little bit higher at $21.84 weekly, so Partners Life is a really good deal for this particular case. Sometimes it's the other way around. I'm always trying to hunt the best deals for you guys out there. The other option was to increase the life cover to $1 million each, which is what they really wanted because New Zealand's not a cheap place to raise kids, and Partners Life was quoting only $22.73 weekly for this. But watch this. Partners Life and AIA have a cool structure where you can save money on insurance premiums by structuring it differently. So instead of having a big $1 million payout, what if we decrease that to $250,000, and then there's a monthly payout structure of $4,000 paying out every month for 15 years. Now when you factor in the CPI increase every year, this makes this life cover policy worth almost $1.3 million. But look at the premium. It's only $21.21 weekly at Partners Life. So why must they pay $20.04 for an $850,000 policy when they can take out $1.3 million worth of value for only $1 more? And there it is. Your child protection plan will have a professionally drafted legal will for each parent, an investment plan in place in one of the oldest and best KiwiSaver providers in New Zealand, and really cheap life insurance starting at only $20 per week for the entire policy. All I would need to work out from my side is how much $20 per week in premium will get you in life insurance cover, given your unique variables such as age, whether or not you smoke or vape, things like that. And for me to work that out and email your own report, I just need to ask you to fill out the quick form on my website so that I can go to the insurance quote software and work it out for you. This report is 100% free and without any obligation, so you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain by filling in the form. So let's bring this all home now. What's the squeeze and the cost to get this all done for you? It's easy. If you just want to do the wills and nothing else, it's only $115 per will. The wills provider is called Footprint, and it's an online process, and this is their base rate. But if you bundle together the KiwiSaver with me, or the life cover option, or both, then the wills are totally free because I can use the commissions that I get paid to pay the cost for the wills on your behalf. So, how do you request your own free child protection plan report? All I need is some easy information so that I can work out the options for you. Things like your name, what work you do, if you smoke tobacco, your date of birth, very easy stuff like this. You can send this to me at pauldeclerc.co.nz/CPP. I will then email your report to you along with a video explaining everything in it. From there, now that you have all the proper facts to make an informed decision, you can either just tell me which bundles you want to apply for and I'll send you the application forms, or let's make a free Zoom call together into my diary and we can have a nice chat over coffee together and I'll answer all your burning questions. And that's it. Thank you for listening. I hope that you found this valuable. I look forward to hearing from you, and I would be so grateful if you could share this video with your friends and family. It would really mean a lot to me. But until we meet face to face, take care out there, and we'll chat again soon.